It is getting hotter. It is summer season. And yes, indeed, we celebrate Summerween around here. So, yes, we are getting a pretty good amount of horror movies, with one in particular this week, which is Bring Her Back, which is currently my favorite horror movie of the year so far. Highly encourage you to go watch that movie if you really want a hardcore horror. Check out my review for that, and we'll talk spoilers tomorrow. But let's talk about the other horror movies coming out. So, of course, let's talk about Bring Her Back before we get into it. But before we do, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers. We are so close to that. And also, if you have TikTok, follow me over there because we are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers over there as well. So let's get into the summer horror films that I'm super excited for, and we'll have a Summerween theme coming out pretty soon. Stay tuned for that. But Bring Her Back is the latest film from Danny and Michael Philippou, directed by both of them after Talk to Me. This time it's written though by Danny Philippou and Bill Hinzman. Now this is a movie that I will tell you, it is hardcore. Like, it really goes into some very squeamish levels, and even myself included, I felt a little bit like, oh. But this is about a brother and a sister that uncover a terrifying ritual that is happening in a secluded home of their new foster mother. And honestly, I was just baffled how much they put into this movie, and I was just like, people are gonna come watch this. People are gonna come watch this. That's all I'll say. Really great film. This is the only one I've watched of the films I'm gonna talk about, except for one other one, so just keep that in mind. But let's get into the next film coming out next week, which is going to be Dangerous Animals. Now, Dangerous Animals is directed by Sean Byrne, and Sean Byrne did a film called The Loved Ones, which was pure insanity as well. If you've seen that movie, I do want to do a review for it. I've never really talked about this one there. But the synopsis for Dangerous Animal reads: when Sefer, a rebellious surfer, is abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer and held captive on his boat, she must figure out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks below. This is a film which stars Jai Courtney as that said serial killer. And honestly, I've been hearing some pretty decent stuff from this. It actually was at Cannes a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know. I'm in. But our most anticipated horror movie of this summer is going to be 28 Years Later. We've talked already theories. We've broken down the trailers. We have some new theory video coming out next week. Stay tuned for that. But this is honestly a film I'm super excited for. And last week I didn't tell y'all, but I actually went to go watch 28 Days Later in the theaters. My first time ever seeing that movie on a big screen. And the sheer horror that Danny Boyle was able to bring forth in that movie has me super excited for 28 Years Later, because we have Boyle back directing and Alex Garland writing, and that was what brought us 28 Days Later. So now I'm just like, this is going to be intense, and I'm super excited for that. I will talk more about it. I will do a 28 Days Later review because I just need to talk about it, especially seeing it in a theater. But I am super excited for 28 Years Later. This looks great, honestly. They did show us a clip of 28 Years Later after 20 Days Later, and I will talk about that in my review for that, so check that out when it comes out tomorrow. But honestly, I am so ready to see what Danny Boyle and Alex Garland cook up here. But the following week after that, on June 27th, we have Megan 2.0, which is set 2 years after Megan. And I was a fan of Megan. I know some people didn't really vibe with Megan. It was very cartoony, outlandish, and just sort of like meta-ish. But I really did like the film. It made me laugh a lot. But it says 2 years after Megan, a marvel of artificial intelligence went rogue and embarked on a murderous and impeccably choreographed rampage and was subsequently destroyed. Megan's creator, Gemma, who is played by Allison Williams, has become a high-profile author and advocate for government oversight of AI. Meanwhile, Gemma's niece, Katie, now 14, has become a teenager, rebelling against Gemma's overprotective rules. Unbeknownst to them, the underlying tech for Megan has been stolen and misused by a powerful defense contractor to create a military-grade weapon known as Amelia, the ultimate killer infiltration spy. But as Amelia's self-awareness increases, she becomes decidedly less interested in taking orders from human or in keeping them around. With the future of human existence on the line, Gemma realizes that the only option is to resurrect Megan and give her a few upgrades, making her faster, stronger, and more lethal. As their paths collide, the original AI bitch is about to meet her match. I don't know, that just sounds interesting to me. I saw the trailer. It's leaning a little bit more into the action aspect of the movie genre, but I'm okay with that. A little bit of horror here and there. I'm okay. So from there, we move on to July, in which we actually have I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is a soft reboot of sorts, almost like Scream 5 was for the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. I've seen this trailer enough times already to know I think it's going to be pretty good. So this actually brings some of the old stars back, like Freddie Prinze Jr. as well as Jennifer Love Hewitt, as well as introducing newcomers like Madeline Klein and Chase Sweet Wonders. And this film says when five friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, they cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it a secret rather than face the consequences. A year later, their past comes to haunt them and they're forced to confront a horrifying truth. Someone knows what they did last summer. As one by one the friends are stalked by a killer, they discover this has happened before and they turn to two survivors of the legendary Southport Massacre of 1997 for help. I don't know, it looks interesting. I seen the trailer on the big screen and it's cinematic looking enough for me to say I think I'm gonna go watch this in the theaters. Let me know what you think about this one right here. Another film that I watched, actually I watched 3 movies I'm going to talk about in this video, but this is going to be Together, which comes out July 30th. This is the new Alison Brie and Dave Franco film, and it says years into the relationship, Tim and Millie, played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie, find themselves at a crossroads as they move to the country, abandoning all that is familiar in their lives except each other. With tensions already flaring, a nightmarish encounter with a mysterious, unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. I saw this at South by Southwest, and I will tell you it is currently number 2 on my favorite horror movies of the year so far. Really, really great stuff right here. The next film is going to be Zach Cregger's new film with Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, which is Weapons, which I've already talked about as well. We've broken down the trailer. This is one of my most anticipated films of the summer as well. And it says, when all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. The trailers are great. I hope they really pick up with the marketing because that website's kind of bare. But Zach Cregger coming back to direct a horror movie, I'm there. I'm all the way there. This is another film I already watched as well. I watched this actually at Fantastic Fest, and this is The Toxic Avenger. It says, a horrible toxic accident transforms downtrodden janitor Winston Goose into a new evolution of hero, the Toxic Avenger. And I watched this back. It's going to be very, I would say, slapsticky horror, gross out type vibes here. If you've seen the original Toxic Avenger, you know what I'm talking about. Just the same right here. And I don't know. I'm curious how people are going to feel about this one right here. But the last film on the list is going to be the last Conjuring film, which is The Conjuring Last Rites, which comes out on September 5th. Is that still summer? I'm counting that as summer. But it is the last film in the Conjuring franchise. You have Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga reprising their role as the Warrens for one more time. It says The Conjuring Last Rites delivers another thrilling chapter of the iconic Conjuring cinematic universe. And I already talked about the real life case that they're covering here, which is the Smurl case, in the video if you want to go check that out. But those are the horror movies for the summer that I'm excited for. There might be more. There might be some other ones thrown in there as well. But for the most part, these are the ones that I'm very excited to watch. Even if I watch them already, I'm going to watch them again. But let me know which is your most anticipated horror film so far. It's a tie for me. For films that I haven't seen yet, 28 Years Later and Together are definitely like tied for my most anticipated films. I mean, Weapons, I already watched Together, which is really good. But I think Weapons and 28 Years Later are definitely at the top of my list of most anticipated, and I cannot wait to see. Comment below yours. Make sure you follow us for more on the things you love. I have a Bring Her Back spoiler talk tomorrow, but I do have a spoiler-free review if you want to check that out. That movie comes out this weekend, and I really implore you, if you're a fan of horror and really want to see something that pushes it to its limits, it is Bring Her Back. But anyways, I'll see all of you next time. Check us out wherever you can. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. As always, stay safe, stay positive.